Picture a vibrant golden beacon rising above the late summer prairie, alive with the frantic energy of pollinators preparing for winter. This isn't just a backdrop, it's wildlife conservation in bloom. Tall goldenrod is the oak tree of our grasslands, and a cornerstone species that secretly hosts hundreds of native insects and sustains local biodiversity like no other. Come with me in this video to learn about this exceptionally beautiful, resilient, and important host plant, the tall goldenrod.
Hello everybody, my name is Tanner Kyler, and today I have a very beautiful plant here. This is tall goldenrod, Solidago altissima. The sun's going to come out right about now, so it's going to get nice and toasty down here. It was feeling really good this morning. We had a little light rain, and that kind of perked up the flowers. But here we have one of the most crucial plants to the majority of North America. This lives in basically the entire lower 48, southern Canada, and I think even into parts of Mexico. So you can find this guy growing in roadsides, ditches, all across prairies, pretty much all across North America. And I'll throw up a range map here so you guys get a good idea of where this lives and whether or not you should plant it for your home state or your home backyard to make sure that you're helping ecosystems all around you, as this may be the most beneficial host plant you can put in your yard. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about the basic facts of this plant. This plant gets between 2 and 6 feet tall. It is very leggy, has a large stem, and looks best if it has something planted in front of it to kind of hide its tall nature. It is called tall goldenrod because it gets rather tall, going between 2 and 6 feet. I'd say this plant ranges between the 3 and 4 feet mark right now, about 6 feet tall and about 2 feet taller than it right here. This one is growing in very sandy soil, mixed in with a little bit of clay, but the majority of what it's growing in is very sandy soil here. It's growing right on the edge of a marsh, so it has quite a bit of water. This guy does prefer quite a bit of water, but can also tolerate extreme drought conditions. So the more drought it gets and the more sun it has, the shorter the plant will be. The more water and less sunlight it gets, the taller it will become. So this one's a rather tall clump here, but the 6-foot clumps are going to grow in shadier regions. This guy is good between full sun and part shade, so it is excellent in basically all conditions. It has beautiful little yellow or golden flowers on it. Each flower is rather small, and I'll show some close-ups here, but the entire thing is a remarkable showy flower. So we have these small flowers growing in these tightly packed plumes, and these plumes are rather large, allowing it to look very pretty and very golden from a distance. So each flower head is actually hundreds of small flowers, and each of them are small little golden flowers, which are in the Asteraceae family, giving them their unique aster-like flowers that are absolutely adored by all pollinators. I see tons of different species on this, from butterflies and moths and bees of all different sorts of shapes and sizes, from bumblebees to small solitary bees. We see plenty of cool butterflies coming here, from fritillaries to monarchs. It will just highlight into the late summer and early fall in your backyard. In Oklahoma, this guy starts blooming in late August. It's late August right now, and you will see it blooming all the way into November, basically dying out around the first frost. So here in Oklahoma, it does excellent, and it is an amazing late source of nectar for these pollinators before they go to sleep for the winter. So it blooms later in the year during the heat of the summer when not much else is blooming, and it offers an array of food and nectar for a ton of different species because it's one of the last food sources before the winter cold comes and they have to go into hibernation for the winter. They have narrow leaves that are lance-shaped leaves, so they have this nice vase-like shape to them. And if you look up closely, you can actually see they have small tooths on the side of them. That sun is really making this guy pop, and I bet we're about to have a ton of pollinators and then also horseflies coming to eat me up. But this guy attracts a ton of cool pollinators, and we'll get into that just in a moment. As I mentioned, they can grow in basically all soil types, from sand to loam to clay. They are not picky on their soil type and will adapt to basically all conditions, but I have noticed it prefers sandy soils near creek bottoms and other places, at least here in the heat of Oklahoma. If you live up in the northern states, it might prefer more open areas where there's cooler weather. All my research says that it likes medium moisture the most, and I will agree with that. This area is pretty moderate in its moisture, pretty wet in the spring and then drier during this part of the year. But I have seen it growing in complete boggy conditions and growing in barren, hot areas and areas like limestone glades out on other parts of the property. So it's not picky on where it can grow. It just needs a place with some sun and not much competition. But it is also excellent at outcompeting stuff if it is given the chance. So right here in this area, you can see some Johnson grass growing, and Johnson grass is one of our worst invasive species, but it's actually growing to tackle and compete against that species that is ruining our landscapes, along with American giant ragweed, which is native, but a very aggressive annual native that comes along here. And that brings me to a very important part of this flower and this plant. Many people mistake this plant for causing their allergies, but flowers pollinated by insects have thick, sticky pollen all over them. So that's not going to be carried by the wind very much. It's meant to want to stick to the legs of pollinators and be carried from one flower to the next. The thing that is causing your allergies during this part of the year are two main things. We have the giant ragweed here, which produces wind pollinated flowers, not pollinated by insects, so that it's light and dusty, and it carries in the wind, producing about 100 times more pollen than this plant here in front of it. This is the guy, this is your real enemy that is causing all of your allergies, not goldenrod. They just bloom around the same time, so people confuse them with that. Also, grasses are blooming right now. They're also wind pollinated. So in this area full of a lot of grasses, we're gonna have quite a bit of grass pollen as well. These are the things causing your allergies, not the goldenrod. The goldenrod is your friend. It is harmless to you. It is not causing your allergies, unless maybe you're allergic to bees, because they do attract a ton of bees. But for the most part, they're small solitary bees. You don't get many honeybees on this because it's a native species, and honeybees are not native to North America. They have very erect stems, as I mentioned. That is one of the cool identification clues, along with this lance-shaped leaf that they have that makes it very easy to identify, and then this golden shower of flowers. Now, there are a few other species like the giant goldenrod, which look very similar, but giant goldenrod has hairy stems and gets much taller. We have some giant goldenrod that ends up getting like 9 feet tall around here. So, as I mentioned, it may be the best host plant to plant here, one of the single most beneficial plants you can plant in your landscape to help pollinators get through the winter, as it's not only used for hibernation, but it's used for one crucial thing. It is a larval host for over 90 different species of caterpillar. That is amazing. I did a video over the snow on the mountain the other day, and it only is a host for one species of moth. This is a host plant for 90 different species of caterpillars and moths and butterflies, specialized insects like different species of beetle, and one of the really cool features is it is awesome for gall-forming insects or invertebrates. So they lay their eggs inside the stems. It forms a gall, which is this weird little bump that'll grow in the stems, and then they'll hibernate through the winter in those stems, releasing them into the spring where their babies have hibernated in the gall. So basically they sting the plant. It causes a weird gall to form there, which is similar to like a tumor, and then their eggs grow inside the stem there, and then either in fall or spring they hatch out, and this plant is already dormant and gone away, so its stems are not really harmed. And then in the spring, the plant grows back from its root system, as it is an amazing perennial that can last decades in the environment. It is basically able to grow indefinitely as it can spread through its runners. And that brings me to my last point on this plant, is that it is a bit aggressive. So you can see it's growing in here very well. If you have an area that you want to be dominated by one species of plant, this is the one. It will spread through laterally through its root system. It sends underground runners that'll pop up and grow wider and wider each year. They are quite easy to remove though, in my opinion, as you can just get in there and rip their roots out. Now they'll keep trying to grow up from sprouts, and they can outcompete some of your other more delicate plants like maybe butterfly milkweed or something like that. You just need to be able to create a harsh barrier of where it grows. Maybe having a clump in the middle of your backyard that you mow around heavily will keep it from spreading beyond its limits, because it does not like to be mowed. This is a host plant, and I'll mention a few of the species, but we'd have to make a whole separate video just on the amount of species that use this plant, because over 90 different species use this plant. And I'll keep mentioning that because this is basically the oak of the prairie. This is going to be one of your most important keystone species to the area. And many forest ecosystems, oaks are the most important species, becoming basically a whole ecosystem themselves. These plants in the prairie act like an ecosystem completely on their own. They are host plants to the goldenrod gallfly. They form those galls all over this, and that's one of the main things that use this plant. We have wavy-lined emerald moth, and I'll throw a few photos, and I might find a few other moths and butterflies that like this plant, and I'll just throw pictures of them as we go along through here. We have the Baltimore checker spot, which is a species of butterfly, I believe. And we have numerous species of borer moths and micro moths that use this. So they're ones that bore into the stem, and teeny tiny species that are almost naked, invisible to the naked eye because they're so tiny that just go completely unnoticed, that use this plant, but are important for the ecosystem, as the insects that are using this plant will feed birds. The birds will feed birds of prey, attracting, more predators to the area. The amount of bugs and seeds this produced will attract small rodents. The small rodents will show up, which will attract your predators like your snakes, and other large mammals like coyotes and other things like rabbits even will start using this as shelter. And then we kind of start an entire food web just by planting this in our backyard and increasing the amount of insects in the area. Now, don't worry, it probably won't attract snakes in cities, but an area like this and this restoration area that's about 5 acres large that I've been using to grow all these native plants in and help restore this area. It is an excellent species, as this area is about 5 acres and it can take over as much as it wants, and it's going to do nothing but helping our native species. This is the kind of videos we do here on this channel. So if you like this video, make sure to hit subscribe and like this video to get more videos like this and to be able to see more of the content on here, as I'm really just trying to help the ecosystems around us, educate the youth, and then also protect and restore nature to the best of my ability. Any money ever made by this channel will be put right back into restoring nature, purchasing land, and helping save it for future generations to enjoy the beauty that we have here today. Make sure to comment if you have any questions or concerns with the videos. I try to reach out to each and every one of you to let you know I'm there and I'm listening to your concerns, and I try to answer anything I might have missed in the video. So make sure to go down and comment, and also hit that notification, the bell notification button. That's going to help show you whenever I've uploaded new videos so you don't miss any of these cool videos about these native plants to this area. Now, with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.